All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people, just like you and just like me. Rick Wakeman, talk about a brilliant musician who's had a just tremendous career and deserves all the recognition he gets. He's charismatic. He commands an audience. He is one of the finest keyboard players to live in the rock era. And if you're a fan of Yes, or even if you're just a fan of keyboards done crazy, crazy good that is, you're going to be happy. Rick Wakeman's Return to the Center of the Earth Deluxe box set is on the way. Of course, Rick has been in the Yes family for quite some time. Spent more time recently with John Anderson and Trevor Rabin. They call it ARW. Some people call it, a different version of Yes and so forth. I think Rick is more inclined to just not call it Yes, but Hall of Famer, deserves every bit of recognition that he gets. The box set itself is to be reissued as a super deluxe box set, both available now to pre-order. So you can get it as just a plain old deluxe or a super deluxe. Now this was released back in March of 1999 on EMI Classics. The album was a long-awaited sequel to Wakeman's 1974 concept album Journey to the Center of the Earth. So you get Return to the Center of the Earth, and then the original is The Journey to the Center of the Earth. Now, again, if you're not a progger, if you're not all proggy, this may not be in your wheelhouse, but I'll tell you what, this sounds really cool. It's based on the same titled science fiction novel by Jules Verne. Wakeman wrote a new story of three unnamed travelers who attempt to follow the original journey 200 years later, including in the music, which features guest performances from Trevor Rabin, Justin Hayward, Ozzy Osbourne, Bonnie Tyler, and more. Talk about a great lineup. And if you're a Star Trek Next Generation fan, or just a Star Trek fan in general, it's narrated by Patrick Stewart. So really cool. Upon release, the album reached number 34 on the UK album chart. I'm sure it did 0 here in the United States as far as chart success. Wakeman says something kind of profound here. He says, "I'm immensely proud of Return to the Center of the Earth, as when I look back, it appears to have been almost suicidal to have recorded and released it when prog was at such a low status." Now, prog is kind of making a comeback these days, but, the 90s, people don't realize how the 90s destroyed the music industry. It just destroyed it. It made everything monolithic. You had to color between the lines, and those lines were like, very narrow. A guy like Rick Wakeman, with his career and his ability to play and write the way he does and make this concept album, I bet you we would have played some of this stuff on the radio back in the 80s and obviously in the 70s, but certainly in the 1980s was still fertile ground for stuff like this. The music of Yes was still on the radio being played, but the 90s, later on in the decade, there was no room for anything remotely like that stuff. So it's good to see this coming out. If you're a fan of Yes and Rick Wakeman, or just great keyboard players, he's one of the best ever, and he deserves your attention. Anyway, that's my video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and yes, you can join me on Patreon for just pennies a day. Pennies! $1 a month, that's all it costs. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.